It up for our headline act for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now here he is. This is a man, a local legend. Been doing it a long time, an absolute legend of comedy in Gloucester, and we're pleased to have him here tonight. So will you please put your hands together at the front and clap on back for the legendary Mr. Nick Hill.
I think that was far too much of a build-up, I've got to be honest. I've been doing comedy 20 years and tonight I heard one of the finest lines I've never expected to hear. Fucking Gloucester person pretending they know where Malawi is. That was just... that was brilliant, mate. That was brilliant. But I'm a bit like Neil when I started doing comedy. I thought I had dreams, I had ambitions. I thought, maybe live at the Apollo, maybe a tour. And here I am on a Wednesday night with lockers behind me and what resembles the bulk hole of the fucking Titanic. As we're slowly sinking. But are we all from Gloucester? Are we all from... Have we got anybody from that place we don't really like to talk about, beginning with the word sea? Yeah, no one's going to admit that, are they? And what I like about Gloucester most is we're all fairly grounded. Would you say we're fairly down-to-earth people? Because you don't get that at every gig. I did a gig a couple of weeks ago in Ashton Keynes. And I just went on and said, oh, it's lovely to be here, I'm from Gloucester. Nice to be here in Ashton Keynes. And this woman went, oh, excuse me, young man. I know it's spelled Keynes, K-E-Y-N-E-S. But here in the village, we prefer to pronounce it Keynes. I hope you don't mind. No, that's absolutely fine. It does make you sound like a bit of a pretentious cunt. You can't hear. Can you hear now?
Yeah!
Sorry. Do you want me to do that joke again?
Yeah!
Fuck it, you should have sat closer, I'm not shouting. So it does make you sound like a bit of a pretentious cunt. I said, that's spelled C-A-N-T, but where I come from, we prefer to pronounce it. And she got up and left, and I thought, well, that's a bit harsh. Because I've lived in Gloucester all my life, and I'm proud of coming from Gloucester. So, well, when you do gigs and you say you're from Gloucester, you get people shouting out stuff like, oh, Fred West. We know that. We got far more to offer. I mean, we got a brilliant rugby team.
Have we?
Well, we've got a rugby team, and the docks was used as a film set, and the cathedral was used as a film set for Harry Potter, and that's brilliant. But we can't compete with the Forest of Dean and Puzzlewood being used for Star Wars. I mean, what a coup that was. And I don't know if you know this, but when they made that, they wanted to recreate that famous scene in the first Star Wars film, where our heroes walked into that bar, and it was full of people with two heads, 8 fingers on one hand, and all they had to do was to walk into any pub in Colford on a Saturday night. And a few years back, there was a report, when we used to have the Citizen, there was a report in the Citizen about a man from Cinderford who'd been accused of having sexual intercourse with a wild boar whilst under the influence of alcohol. And I was thinking, how much alcohol would a wild boar need? The other thing that sometimes people shout out when you say, what's your notions of Gloucester, they'll shout out the cheese roll, right? I've never done the cheese roll, but this year I'm going to give it a go. And I've been practicing, I've been rolling a baby bell down my drive, that's working well. And a few years back, when that cheese roll was reintroduced, I don't know if you can remember, but BBC Southwest came up to film the event. And one of the winners was a 15-year-old girl from Brockworth called Kylie. And they interviewed her afterwards. They said, Kylie, you've entered the race and you've won. What would you like to say? And she was like, well, yeah, I did enter the race and I did win and I'm very surprised. And they said, why were you surprised, Kylie? And at that moment, I thought, oh, Kylie, just Say something profound. You've got millions of people watching you. Say something that's going to put Gloucester on the map. Just say something like, wow, look at me. I'm 15. I'm from Brockworth. I've already got 8 kids by 10 different dads. I left school when I was 13. Everyone wrote me off, my family, my friends, my teachers. They all said, you ain't going to amount to much. And I thought, do you know what, Kylie? This is your chance to shine. And I trained really hard, and I got to the top of that ladder, and I looked down, and I was just focused. And when they let that cheese go, that's all I could say. And I thought, I'm going to catch that, and I'm going to prove I am worth something. And when they let it go, I just ran, didn't give a thought for my own safety. I tumbled head over heels, and I caught it. And I thought, yes, I am worth something. That's what I wanted her to say. What came out of Kylie's mouth to the question, why were you surprised, was simply this. I don't even like cheese. I thought, no. I had a fantastic year. In 2022, I went to the Leicester Comedy Festival, and I won the Silver Stand-Up Award, which was great. Like, it's basically a competition aimed at the over 55s. That was it. Got backstage, it was like God's waiting room for comedians. One act, just before he's going to go on, he was slumped in a chair. And we were looking at him thinking, shit, is he alive? And somebody said, do you think we should wake him? It was like, oh, fuck it, it'll increase our chances. And I went on and I did my bit and I won. And I got on the phone, I phoned my wife, I said, you'll never guess, after 4 years of trying, I've only gone and won. And she's like, oh, that's fantastic. What have you won? Because obviously, she's from Mumbai, and I said, I've won a trophy. All right. Anything else? No, just a trophy. So I'm back a couple of hours later and showing this trophy. She's like, well, that's lovely. Was there anything else? I said, no, I've told you, it's just this trophy. She's like, right. I've been on the website. Oh, fuck it, have you? What about the £500 cash prize they were advertising? I was gutted, right? Because I had that lined up for something special. She was like, what have I told you? Or for our marriage? And I'm like, there's been so many fucking things, it's hard to remember, to be honest. She said, never lie. And she's right, you shouldn't lie. But she went on a cruise last year for a week with her girlfriend. She phoned me on the Wednesday. You alright? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Are you missing me? I remember what she said, never lie, so I was just like, no. She started clutching at straws. Well, I bet the dog's missing me. He fucking wasn't. He was loving life. He was on my bed, I was feeding from the table, we were down the pub, we went and got tattoos, well I did. And he was sat there on the Friday just looking at me, and I know he can't speak, but he was just looking at me, and I could read his mind, and he was like, oh, Dad, this is brilliant, isn't it? Just you and me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't we just move and not tell her? No, mate. We can't do that. We celebrated Dry January this year. We still drank, just no sex. And she's not a happy woman because it was her birthday. Oh, today. Got her a spa day. Apparently that was wrong because she hates grocery shopping. We did Valentine's Day this year as well, and I did the romantic thing. I phoned the florist. I said, "Can I order some flowers for my wife?" She said, yeah. She said, "Would you like a card?" I said, "Yeah, I'll have a card." She said, "What do you want on the card?" I said, "I'll just put to Lynn, all my love, Nick." And then she said, "Would you like a kiss on the bottom?" Yeah, that'd be brilliant. I could be there in 10 minutes. She went, "No, I meant on the bottom of the card." She's like, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I know, I'm a comedian, I was just making a joke." And quick as a flash, she said, "I bet you don't get many gigs," which I thought, that's a little bit harsh. But we celebrated Valentine's Day, and we were just sat there just talking about stuff, and Lynn said, can you remember how we met? Because we're around this time of year. I said, "Well, yeah, vaguely." She said, "Well, you had an advert in the Lonely Hearts column." She said, "In fact, you had 2, but I only replied to 1. Did you? Didn't know that. Why was that?" She said, "Well, in the second one, you put your height, right? I didn't know she had a problem with my height. I should have realised, because about a week after we got together, I suggested going to Alton Towers for the week. And she was like, what's the point you going? I was like, and then when we were married, I came home one day, she said, sit down, I want to ask you something. I said, what is it? She said, right, how do you feel about being only 8 inches taller than the largest emperor penguin ever recorded? She fucking Googled it. Right. If that wasn't bad enough, she worked in a school at the time, and I used to go up and have a coffee with her now and again. And I went in this one day, and her friend said, have you come to see it? I said, yeah, I've come to see it. Oh, she's in a meeting, but go into the staff room, help yourself to a coffee. Do you want a biscuit? I went, yeah, I'll have a biscuit. Yeah. Why don't you pick up a penguin? They all fucking do. They all do. We've been married, I don't know, 20 odd years now, and she was moaning about it. She said, I think the romance has gone out of our relationship. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, maybe when we're being intimate, it'd be nice to have some music played in the background, just to break the silence. Although that's fair enough. So I recorded a couple of tracks, and we were getting down to it. I put the first one on, Angels by Robbie Williams. That'll do. Just leave her in all there. I've got to be honest, I think my choice of song number 2 killed the mood, the theme for Match of the Day. I just had it for the rhythm factor. And then she was making some suggestions about how we could sort of, maybe spice things up. And we were sat watching this film. It was a Saturday afternoon, we were watching this film. And it was about, it was an American prison thing. And in it, this guy was smuggling drugs into the prison by wrapping them in cellophane and shoving them up his arse. And I'm at one end of the settee and she's at the other. And she's like, oh, look at that, that's bloody ridiculous, that is. What? Well, shoving those drugs up his arse, because we know how hard it is to get something up there, don't we? Right? And I looked at her and I said, we do. And she went, oh no, it wasn't you. And she also moaned, she said, there's no surprises in our relationship anymore. And again, I took that on board. So the other night, she was in the bathroom getting ready for bed. I went into the bedroom, turned all the lights off, lit some candles, hid under the bed, and when she came in, I just grabbed her ankles. And apparently that wasn't the surprise she had in mind, but she did surprise me just before Christmas, because she said, you have remembered you're picking me up from my work stool tomorrow. Right? That came as a total surprise, because she's self-employed and works from home, so no, that's fine, I'll do that. So I got to the place at the right time, she got in the car, all I said was, have a nice time. Are you saying I'm drunk? Oh, don't start. No, I'm not saying you're drunk, but clearly you've had a drink. And then we had that silence for about 3 minutes. And then I got the classic, I don't think you love me. In fact, I don't think you've ever loved me. I said, well, I do, I have. Obviously no guarantees going forward. She said, well, if you love me, you can prove it. I said, okay, how am I going to do that? She said, you can get on top of me now and make love to me in this car. I said, that ain't going to happen. She said, give me one good reason. I said, I'll give you 3. She said, go on then. I said, well, number 1, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Number 2, we're still outside Wetherspoons in King Square. And number 3, we've got your girlfriend Chris in the back of the car because we're giving her a lift home. And that's the thing, she's got that girlfriend. That was the girlfriend she went away on a cruise for a week. I didn't say a thing. I wanted one night away with my girlfriend to spend that £500 winnings. The shit I got from that. So I'll just tell you a few little bits and things. I retired last year, so I've just done the first 12 months 24/7 with her. And that's been fucking challenging. We've just got to that stage, that irritating stage. And it's nothing major, to be fair. The breathing. And if we're out in the car, we come up to a junction, and I want to turn right, I say, is it safe to go? And she go, yeah. And as I'm pulling out and I'm halfway across, if you're quick. But I've discovered things about her in the past 12 months. I discovered things I didn't know. I discovered that she has missed her true vocation in musical theatre. Because she can make a song and dance about fucking anything. It's just, And we've been spending a lot of time at the garden centre as well. That's what happens when... Have we got any other retired people in the room? Yeah, no one's going to admit that, are they? We've been spending ages down at fucking Highfields. I've got a loyalty card, right? And we went in August, just had a coffee, gave them a card, and the woman went, oh, congratulations. Sorry? She said, well, put your card in. It's your birthday today, isn't it? Yeah, and? Well, that's good, isn't it? I said, no, not really. I don't celebrate. What's good about it? She said, well, now you qualify for one of our senior citizens discount card. And I'm thinking, just fucking shoot me now. I said, do I have to pay for it? She said, no, they're free. I said, right, I'll have it. I said, is there any benefit? She said, yeah, you get a free roast, 40% off a roast lunch. All right, give us the card. So I got the card, and I'm looking at the terms on the back, and you do get 40% off a roast lunch at Highfields. Every Monday, served between 9:30 and 11:15. And I thought, who the fuck eats a roast lunch on a Monday between 9:30 and 11:15? And as it turns out, since last August, I have been. But we sat down in January and she said, are you going to make any New Year's resolutions this year? I said, well, no, I don't think so. She said, well, I think you should. I said, well, like what? She said, well, you're still quite angry, you're still quite irritable, so perhaps you need to calm down. And she is right, I am still quite angry, but I've got issues. I don't mind sharing with you. Well, let's call them by their proper name, shall we? Fucking stepchildren. 29, 41 and 43. You'd have thought by now I know their names, but I don't. And we got into a bit of an argument over Christmas, because I inadvertently used the word Eskimo in something. I've been watching a documentary and I used the word Eskimo, and they all kicked off. That is so racist, that is so discriminatory. I said, look, it's just a word I used. I don't mean anything by it. Well, the thing is, you wouldn't understand discrimination, would you? Because you've never been discriminated against. I said, right, hang on, whoa. I said, last year, I applied for a gig. I said, and it said, acts wanted, particularly those of LGBT or POC persuasion. I said, I phoned up, I said, I'm interested in the gig. They said, are you LGBT? I went, no. They said, are you POC? I went, I've got to be honest, I didn't know what that meant. They said, a person of colour. I said, yes, I am. They said, what colour are you? I said, ginger. And they just put the phone down. Because I've got to be honest, I suffered as a kid with the name calling. Copper knob, ginger nut, Duracell, you little ginger wanker. And I can remember saying, Dad, just leave it out. I was thinking of my dad the other day because I was watching something on YouTube. I was watching wrestling that we used to watch back in the 60s and 70s when I was a kid. It used to be on about 4 o'clock. And I was about 6 or 7. And afterwards, me and Dad used to have a pretend wrestle. And I'd try and pin him down for the count of 3. And he'd always just pop his one shoulder up. And looking back, I think he was just trying to teach me a bit of a life lesson. And that being, if you persevere long enough, when you achieve your goal, you'll feel brilliant. And he was right. I've got to be honest, he was right. Because I can remember the day I managed to pin his shoulders down for the count of 3. It was brilliant. I mean, he was 92 in a care home, suffering with brittle bone disease. But I thought, fuck it, a win's a win. But it wasn't just my father. My mother was equally as cruel. January 1963, I was 5. Just come back to school after the Christmas break, and I went into the kitchen, and my mum was in there, and I was like, Mum, can I ask you a question? I said, what is it? I said, well, all the other little boys in my class were talking about the presents they had on Christmas Day. She was like, and? So well, I didn't get any, did I? She went, no, and there's a very good reason for that. I said, was I naughty before? No. She looked me straight in the eye. I was 5, looked me straight in the eye and said, Santa don't stop for ginger kids. Harsh, isn't it? To be fair, my 2 kids are ginger, not spending a penny of them at Christmas, so just talking about my mum, right, I was alright when I got to 50, because what happens at 50, through the post, you get free life assurance. I could deal with that, that was fine. When you get to 60, that changes. Funeral plans. I I knew a little bit about funeral plans because when my mum died, she had one with a co-op in Barton Street, and I had to go in and sort it out. And I went in there and said, I'm Nick Hill, I'm Jean Hill's son, I've come sort a funeral plan out, so take a seat. Before we started, I said, how old are you? So, 63, what's that got to do with it? Have you got a funeral plan? I went, no. You could go any time. I said, thanks. She said, do you know what they entail? I said, well, not really. She said, well, basically, if you pay us £2,000 now, you could be buried or cremated. You can choose. You could decide where you want the wake. You can put some money over the bar. You could decide what food you want. You could have a band or a disco. You could get people to wear fancy. Whatever you want, you can have. We had a conversation for 10 minutes, and at the end of it, I was looking forward to my own fucking death. My mother did die in 2019, and she had dementia, and I'm sure there might be some people in this room who've got either family that have suffered with dementia, and you'll know if you do that there's traits that dementia sufferers have. They're paranoid, they tend to lose things, and they can wander. And Mum had all three. She thought there was people living in her loft. She was forever losing keys, bank cards, and she wandered for the last time in September 2019. The neighbours phoned me. I was at a party. I phoned the police. The police were brilliant. They picked her up in literally 20 minutes. And when the police get involved, they assign a safeguarding officer. I didn't know any of this. And on the Monday, I got a call. I had to go and meet PC Davis at Gloucester Hospital to go and see my mother. And he said, look, I just need to make sure she's all right. So I met him outside and we're walking up to the ward. I said, how long have you been in the police? He said, 20 odd years. How long have you been doing this safeguarding? He said, only a few months. I said, okay, word of advice, don't believe a fucking word she's likely to say. We got up to the ward. Mum was in the bed here, and there was about another 4 ladies in the ward, and they all had their family round them. And we come in. I said, oh, Mum, this is PC Davis. And she's like, oh, right, have you come to arrest me? And he's like, no, Jean, I haven't come to arrest you. Mm-hmm. Have you come to arrest Nicholas? And he's like, no, why would I do that? Well, he's only just come out of prison. And this copper looked at me. He said, have you? I said, no, I haven't come out. No, remember what I said, don't. And then she said, because of course he murdered his brother. And he looked at me again, and I'm like, Mum, if you remember, Tim died in 2009. He had ischemic heart disease. Can you remember that? Well, you would say that, wouldn't you? By now, the atmosphere in the room's a little bit like this, fucking subdued. Some of you listening. And about 2 minutes went by, and then she came out with the classic, and of course he made me have sex with him before we were married. This woman across the way said, that is disgusting. I'm like, it didn't happen, look, she's not well, it didn't happen. I grabbed the copper, I said, I can't deal with this. I'm sorry, I just can't deal with this anymore. We got to go. And just as we got to the door, and under her breath, but loud enough so we could hear, and I don't know to this day whether she knew what she was saying or not, but she just went, it's that poor dog I feel sorry for. And we got outside, and I said to this copper, I said, look, I'm sorry you had to experience that. He went, no, that's fine, I can see she's not well, but I do need to ask you a question. I said, well, I haven't been in prison, and I didn't kill my brother. He went, no, but have you got a dog? And unfortunately the answer was yes. And he just looked at me as if I was a piece of shit, and then she died a week later. And I thought, well, that's just desserts for telling me fucking Santa don't stop for ginger kids. Listen, you've been a challenge, you've been, I'll put the mic back at my level. Thanks for supporting this gig, you've been lovely. My name's Nick Hill. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up once again for our headliner, Mr. Nick Hill!
That was hard work.